Even before he became the apprentice of Darth Plagueis and joined the Sith, Darth Sidious had a fascination with dark side lore, building a collection of Sith artifacts as a young noble upon Naboo. As a Sith Lord, Sidious would finally be granted access to something he'd been craving since his apprenticeship began under Plagueis: the Sith Archives, consisting of dozens of scrolls, holocrons, and texts containing more than 1,000 years of teachings passed down from Sith Master to Sith Apprentice. As Sidious wrote in the Book of Sith, a collection of works written by great Sith who came before Sidious and compiled in the months following his rise to become Emperor, these dark side tomes deepened his knowledge of the dark side and were crucial to crafting his own system of power. In fact, it was these ancient works of the Sith that were credited by the Dark Lord with helping him to achieve supremacy over the galaxy and rise to become Emperor of the Galactic Empire. But there was one set of writings from an ancient Dark Jedi and one of the first Sith Lords that would serve as the oldest Sidious would study directly and would mark the first chapter in the Book of Sith. In this video expose, I will describe the ancient Sith Lord Sorzus Syn and explain how her journal provided Sidious with the earliest knowledge regarding Sith history, Sith alchemy, the Sith Code, and the prophecy of the Sith'ari. Sorzus Syn was originally a member of the Jedi Order, who would be exiled from the Order roughly 6,900 years before the outbreak of the Clone War. Having come to view the dark side as the true path to power, Syn would play an instrumental role in the 100-Year Darkness and the formation of the Sith Order, following the failed attempt by her and other Dark Jedi to overthrow the Jedi Order. This history of the earliest days of the Sith Order would be outlined by Syn within a journal she kept. Although it fell into the hands of the Jedi and kept guarded within their temple on Coruscant and studied by Jedi Masters such as Mace Windu and Yoda, it would ultimately come into possession of Sidious following the annihilation of the Jedi through Order 66. From the writings of the ancient Sith Lord, Sidious learned how Syn and her fellow exiled Dark Jedi came into contact with the Sith purebloods of Korriban and the untapped wealth of knowledge of the dark side the planet would grant them. It was during the 100-Year War that Syn would begin to collect rumors and information regarding Sith space inhabited by the Sith purebloods, who possessed a special knowledge of the dark side. When Syn and the other Dark Jedi were exiled after being defeated in the Battle of Korbos, they set their course for Korriban, making sure they couldn't be tracked by the Jedi or Republic. Initially treated with hostility by the Sith of Korriban, their superior technology, lightsabers, and use of the Force easily rebutted the aggression of the Sith purebloods. These exiled Dark Jedi, including Sorzus Syn, would become the first Sith Lords, using knowledge from the Sith purebloods to form the Sith Order and create the first Sith Empire, centered around the worship and outward practice of the dark side. This historical account of the Second Great Schism, the 100-Year Darkness, the exile of the Dark Jedi, and their arrival on Korriban was all detailed within Syn's journal and made available to be directly studied by Sidious. But it wasn't only historical information that Sidious gained through her writings. As Sidious recognized, Syn was exceptionally proficient at Sith alchemy through her studies on Korriban, and this knowledge of Sith alchemy and incantations became the Dark Lords. Syn's journal also discussed topics of weaponry, Sith amulets and holocrons, the creation of war beasts, the Sith Code, and the prophecy of the Sith'ari. In fact, so uniquely venerable were these writings from the ancient Sith Lord, it was believed that the Sith Code within the Journal of Syn was the first time these core beliefs and mantra of the Sith had been codified, leading many to believe the code originated with her. Although Sidious learned many of these topics from his master Plagueis, their discussion and introduction to Sidious by Syn provided him with unparalleled insight from an ancient Sith Lord. Therefore, once Sidious obtained the Journal of Sorzus Syn from the Jedi Temple, it made her one of the oldest ancient Sith Lords whose writings were directly studied by the Dark Lord of the Sith. So there we have it, how Sidious came to possess and study the writings of Sorzus Syn. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions. Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. Or perhaps follow us on Twitter, @SWReadingClub, for updates regarding the channel. Or support the channel on Patreon for access to exclusive rewards and discussions. If not for me... for Ajunta Paul.